Well, okay, folks, welcome to, I would say, two-thirds of the staff meeting
It's about
for the
right.
Rocky Mountain Guitar Camp. We've got Pat and Muriel and Richard and I, John Knowles, and we're going to kind of think out loud about some things that we might do this summer, 2022 at Rocky Mountain Guitar Camp. Let's see, Richard and Pat and I have been there before. This is Muriel's first time, so she's like the new visiting star. That means we get to go through the whole hazing thing, you know. We call there's plenty of oxygen up there in the Rocky Mountains.
That's right. We will put something in their oxygen tank when we get up there. Maybe some, I don't know.
But I think the thing that is most fun about that camp for all of us is, one, there'll be a lot of returning people, so there's some relationships. We've watched people grow over time. But also, they're heavy on developing a scholarship fund. So there's always some young kids, 21 and under. And so we're doing a kind of a next generation legacy thing, plus a fun hangout thing. And there's some players of all levels. Wouldn't you say there's some players who push us and
yeah.
some players who need us to pull them. So that's a great camp for it to be. So what are you guys thinking about doing this year? You got something up your sleeve or?
Oh yeah.
Well,
There's a whole different set of skills to be learned as well. Some people have got their strengths, and other people have got other strengths, and it's going to be a mix of learning to play repertoire and learning to improvise over changes in various styles, ear training. Certainly, as far as I'm going, I like to focus some of the time on the thumb independence. Get that thumb behaving and try and help anybody whose thumb is misbehaving to discipline it.
Yeah, Richard and I have been talking off and on about this whole thumb thing, and we've each come up with a set of approaches which have a lot of overlap in concept, but they're not the same things. I was telling him the other day, I remember trying to play Eleanor Rigby, when the Beatles did it. And so what I did was I said, Eleanor Rigby. And you got to keep this steady, but that's Eleanor Rigby is not. So I just did Eleanor Rigby.
Right.
So and then added the melody.
Yeah.
And so then I thought, well, why not take all Beatle tunes and just do things like Yesterday. Find out where the downbeat is.
Right.
Yesterday. And just take Beatle titles and maybe a line from a Beatle song and see if you can keep time with your thumb and play the rhythm of the Beatle tune.
Just the rhythm.
Then if you run across a good one, what you do is you go back and say, where are the notes, where are the chords? But the main thing you've really got is a solid feel, which may or may not imitate the Beatle record. It's just because you know how it is.
It's a great idea.
Yeah.
Getting the two rhythms working together.
That really focuses on the right hand coordination, and the left hand can work as a separate entity. But just working on that rhythm.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, in the beginning, a lot of people arrive at what we would all call thumb picking, already knowing some stuff up here. So there's a temptation to try and make your right hand catch up with your left one. And your right hand has its job all its own. So to make sure that it's doing its job, I think, is a big deal.
Yeah.
I've had fun watching some players at Rocky Mountain catch on to this and kind of take that first leap off the cliff and actually be able to fly instead of crash, like the coyote.
Right. Yep. Muriel?
Yeah.
That's a great idea. I mean, it would be a great thing to add to what I'm doing with the arranging in the key of D.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because what I focus on that is, the nice comfortable hand positions and then the relaxed right hand position, ways to make your playing effortless and relaxed and expressive. And so even with, this one falls right in D, right in that position.
Yeah.
I think this would be a good one for the group class too.
Oh,
'cause
yeah.
Everyone can do
Yeah.
different things on it. Some people can play the whole arrangement, some just maybe the treble. Phrase that. Join in here with me.
You know, when I hear you do that too, I'm remembering that Mark Knopfler talking about, because we all think of him like a rocker and all that, you know, but he really started out trying to do folk music. So by the time he arrives at rock and roll, he's got a lot of these basic moves. And when you watch him play, you know, you can kind of see some early Merle Travis, Doc Watson kind of stuff, you know, in his playing. I think that's the other thing. Each one of us, because of what we've done or where we've been, we've had a chance to hang out with people who at one point we considered our heroes, you know.
Right.
And so part of our job is to make sure we share, you know, what we've learned as we get together. That's a great tune. We got to play that one.
Yeah.
You know, so.
That is great.
Why worry, right?
Why worry?
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Pat.
Well, yeah, I am going to be. It's in all the years I've done the camps, I have found, you know, that there's a lot of guys who come to the camps. They know tunes, they know arrangements, and they pretty much do that, you know. And they may not play in a band. They just play guitar by themselves.
Sure.
You know, and they do solo stuff, and it seems that most people want it. They want to learn how to improvise. You know, they want to learn how to break out of what they're doing, or, you know, how to, you know, solo over chord changes, or play a solo on a take a break on a song, you know.
And I love the way you do it. I mean, you just have a really unique way of taking those solos. I'm going to sit in on your class.
Well, you're welcome to. Muriel, you are welcome to. You may have to play some chords behind me too.
Oh, okay, well, I'll pay
Do you
my
guys get
dues.
the impression we would do this even if they didn't invite us to camp?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I found a lot. Doesn't it seem like a lot of the guys we know, like they know the arrangement, and they, you know, I just know this arrangement. I know 12 songs and I can play the crap out of them, but and it seems like a lot of guys don't even know what chord changes they're playing.
Yeah.
To the song.
Muscle memory.
They've learned
So, yeah.
finger
Yeah,
movements.
and I understand that, because, you know, I've learned a lot of learned arrangements just off a piece of paper, you know,
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah,
and
people
don't-
make music in all different ways.
That's
and-
right,
yeah.
right. And so it seems like people want to, like, be able to understand music better and understand, you know, what it is they're playing, you know, and also, you know, learning how to improvise, you know. So I'll definitely be talking about that, you know, and talking about, you know, maybe like taking songs that they already know and maybe, you know, improving upon them, maybe with chord substitutions, or, you know, learn how to take a simple tune and, like, make it sound jazzy.
That's
You
one
know,
of the
stuff like
things.
that.
With a song is the verses. If you want to make a song last 3 minutes and it's a vocal, well, the words are changing. But if you're doing it as an instrumental, you've got to change that melody or the chords or something else. It's
Right.
what do I do with it to make it last 3 minutes? So I don't just play one chorus and one verse and I'm done.
Right.
So,
yeah, and,
yeah.
and like you maybe, you know, when you're reharmonizing, you know, say
Right.
take a tune that you always play,
Right.
and you go, okay, the melody is this, but okay, there's a whole lot of chords I can play that have that melody note in it, you
Right.
know, and how do you choose the right chord that sounds right?
Right.
You know, partly just by experimenting, right? Just by going, you know, why don't I try this voicing or try this? And, like, sometimes, like, nah, that ain't it. And then
Not
you just
moving
keep
me.
trying. You know,
You
it
know-
helps to know a lot of different chord voicings.
Yep.
You remind me of something I got. Edgar Cruz had a birthday recently, and I was going to play Happy Birthday for him. And we've all played Happy Birthday so many times.
Right.
You just can't resist doing something. And one of the first things I did was, to you, happy birthday, to you. Just
Nice.
the chromatic motion of the whole chord. As a way to not do the same thing, you know. And I did a couple other things too, but it reminds me how on the simplest of occasions, and Happy Birthday, everybody does it wrong. So you can't go too far off, right? You usually hear it in 5 keys at once, right?
Right.
So anything you do will be totally camouflaged by the crowd around you. And and if you do something and you hit a nice lick, whoever the birthday person is gets a gift, you know. So I think that's the other thing, is to think about when you play music and somebody else listens, to think about how happy that other person is that you learned to play this tune and that you're going to play it. It's so easy to think, oh, they're going to worry if I make a mistake. No, they're not.
Yeah.
They have a job during the day. You know, this is not it.
Right.
What do you think your band tune is going to be, John?
I was going back and forth with a couple of things. I've thought about It Had to Be You
Oh yeah.
a little bit, and then when we were listening to Nick Lucas sing What'll I do today?
There you go. You
Well, it was a great song, that's a good one.
Yeah.
But looking for this kind of like a standardy kind of a thing. When you get something like that, you get somebody who can be comfortable playing the chords. 2 or 3 people can play the melody, maybe with harmony, and it's a well enough known tune that if you have an improviser in your band, you can have somebody take a chorus. So it's a good platform,
playing over the top.
for 5 or 6 players to put together a number. Maybe there's even a singer. Who knows? I
think-
promise not to.
I think I'm going to be doing Sleepwalk. See what I can do with
Oh,
4 or
yeah.
5 people. So somebody will be going. And the other part will be maybe like this. Playing that then. Maybe 2 guitars doing that. And maybe somebody else can be doing, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, lucky break.
Yeah, and we can work on that. Different parts. Somebody can be playing, and somebody else can be playing like the other harmony, something like that. And then somebody's going. So it gives everyone a part. And maybe maybe I'll even bring my bass along.
This reminds me
that's
of something I remember hearing. I think I learned this when I was 14.
Uh-huh.
Is that in the key of C, when you play an F minor,
Yeah.
you can play a B flat 9 instead. It has a lot of the same notes in it, so you can C. They can't do it all the time. You have to set it up square,
Yeah.
and then you have to decide on the occasion. You just sort of don't want to throw your bandmates a curveball, but maybe you all agree that one of those F minors becomes a B flat 9. So that's one of those chord substitutions. I've heard Jerry Reed do that a lot,
Yeah.
where you're in a key, and instead of playing the 4 minor, you play the 7 flat 9.
Yeah.
Let me talk code lingo for just a second.
The other interesting part on the bridge on that, but they actually, the rhythm section stays on the 5, and it stays.
Does that stay on the 5 on the original
Yeah.
one?
Wow.
Okay, I didn't know
Well,
that.
that's
We always
It
played
stays
it as a
on the
B
5,
flat chord.
well. Look at this.
Right.
But yeah, no, that
Right.
that's
I'm
more
a-
of a
The bass
substitute.
stays on
Yeah,
it.
I'm a big chord taker or parter. If you're doing this, that is a B flat.
Right, that's exactly
And that's
right.
a G. So that G minor 7 is really a B flat minor in disguise. So it's to slip one in every now and then.
You're a B flat major.
Major,
Yeah,
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 disguise,
right,
yeah,
correct.
right, yeah.
Pat, you're going
Yeah.
to do a smooth one, right?
Yeah, I'm going to do that. I was also mention something about that tune there, which
Yeah,
is
yeah.
really great for for anybody who's not an advanced improviser. That song, those chords, they all stay in the key of C, right? If you're doing
Yeah.
the key of
Yeah.
C, it's all the 1 chord, the
Yeah.
C major, the 6 minor chord, the D minor, and then the D minor
Right.
is actually a minor 7 flat 5 or F minor 6. I don't know what is the bass note. Is it F minor 6 or is it D minor half
I've
diminished?
played the F minor, that button. Yeah, so much that
okay,
works.
they're the same, pretty much. That's the same chord with a different bass note, right? F
We'll
minor
consult
6 and
YouTube
D
before
half
camp,
diminished.
won't we?
Yeah.
But I was going to say, like, that's a really great tune to improvise on because it's got that one note different.
Right.
A flat, right? It's got the A flat, and that. Otherwise, you play a C major scale over the whole thing, right? When you get to that chord, right? Yeah. So it has a resolution, that's like that, 1 to 6 minor, then. Right?
Right.
So, it's something that, you can practice is that, practice playing a 2-5-1 where the 2 chord is a half diminished instead of a minor 7.
Ah, there you go. Yeah.
Right? And that's like a. You know.
Oh, yeah.
Practice soloing where the 2 is a half diminished. And then and you end up finding out that, wow, that's the same as an F minor. If they say 2 half diminished or 4, they substitute for each other, right?
Yeah.
4 minor 6 or 4 minor 2 half diminished substitute for each other. So that's something that's really neat to work on.
My early way of learning music theory had nothing to do with theory. I looked at my fingers and I realized that my fingers are 2 out of 3 in the same place on this chord as that chord. They had these 2 chords, which have different names, have 2 common notes. And so common tones between chords was one of my earliest ways of like branching out and looking for stuff that would be interesting but not too far afield.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But that was basically, I don't know, this guy, I wasn't always this tall. I'm not this tall yet, am I? But when I was a little guy in a ukulele even, I was doing that, just trying out. I figured I own all these frets, why can't I play around and find some interesting combinations, And then later, I studied theory a little bit like a classical guy. Did you study some theory like a classical musician a little bit?
Well, I didn't start classical until I was pretty old, so I was taking folk and bluegrass before that. But my mother taught piano, and she taught a little theory class to the neighbors, just as an excuse to actually teach it to us. So we'd be doing all these things, and so I learned some theory with that, and that's how I came up with the all chords in all positions idea, because when I joined the school jazz band, I'd never played all these chords, and then so I figured there had to be a reason behind it. So I remembered that I learned from my mother's piano theory class was that 1, 3, and 5 in a major scale makes up the major chord. So I drew out all my 1s, 3s, and 5s of C, and I circled them all. And then I found out that, look, you could make it in this way and this way and this way. And, there's a system. And then I say, the system is the alphabet, right? Because they just go in order. The shapes that I know, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. And then there's the light bulb. And so that was the beginning of learning theory on the guitar.
That's it.
That's very cool. I love that. I can just see you at that age doing that.
Yeah.
Man.
That's great.
Do you want to show the guys?
So much fun.
Yeah, it'll be a blast.
Yes.
A smooth one?
Yeah.
I know I've played it before. But...
Yeah, I was thinking, I like to, for improvising, I like, for us to work on a jazz tune, but one that's not, super difficult, but, one where people can put everybody in a situation where they can improvise successfully without like beating them up too much, right? And so that tune is a good one. It's like a simple jazz tune, but it's got some cool chords. And also, I think the good thing about this one is, I want to get people playing rhythm, sort of Freddie Green style, you know, and the essence of that, of playing that, that type of rhythm guitar playing, in my, years as a, working sort of, I don't know how to,
working guitar player.
Working guitar player who's doing, lots of different things all the time.
Right.
Most of the time I'm playing rhythm. Most guitar players are playing rhythm most of the time. If you're playing solo guitar, of course, or classical or whatever, you're doing, you're still playing rhythm, right?
Yeah.
But learning that style of guitar playing and trying to make it feel good when you're playing it and making it swing.
You're making it
you know,
sound good.
Making it sound good and making it swing, you know, and how do you find the right voicings, you know? Four sharp diminished.
Okay.
1/7. 4 sharp. 1/625. 7.
Yeah.
You know, but that'd be like the rhythm part. But you know, you can just play. It's, you know, anybody can play 4 quarter notes. You know,
Okay.
I mean, you can. There's different ways of playing it and different ways of making it feel. You can play right on the beat. You know, sort of staccato like that. To me, I don't. That's not my favorite way to hear it swung. It doesn't swing like it's shuffling. You know, hearing the triplet, hearing that triplet go throughout the whole song. You know. Somebody's calling. Right. Yeah, that swings, Rich. Yeah. I'll play the melody.
That'll be a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it has an ending, you know, and an intro, and we'll do an intro, and then there's a little shout chorus thing. We'll play that part, you know, we'll divide up the parts with everybody, and everybody will get to take a solo, and
That'd be great.
Yeah, and it's a fun song, and it's a great song. It's a good jam session tune. It's good to have tunes that everybody knows.
I might just jump in.
Yeah, well,
if that groove is taking me, Pat, I don't care who your groove
you're
is.
You're there, man. Take a
I'll
solo.
just get
Take
into
a
the
solo,
mood.
Rich.
Yeah.
hours of fun.
Yeah.
You know, if
Oh,
people are
man.
at home and they're watching this, I bet by now they've run over and grabbed their guitar out of the case, and they're playing along, right? Because you can't resist that set of chord changes. You
Right.
hear them cycle a couple of times and say, "Oh, I think I know those." You know, I remember when I was learning those. Those are the ones that we all call bread and butter changes. The ones you hear show up a lot. You know, and so you learn how to navigate.
Yeah.
It's like a vocabulary for the local people. You know, sort of thing.
Yeah, and those changes are, you know, it kind of cycles around. It's got starts on like the 4/2 diminished, really. I was playing it. A lot of guys play it like as like a G over B type of sound.
Yeah, yeah.
Then a B flat minor 6, A minor, and then a F over A, and an F7, then to an F7, you know. Then the G over, I mean the F over A to a D7,
Yeah.
G7, C7,
Yeah.
F. But yeah, and then the bridge goes to the 4, and then the 4 sharp diminished, which is a very common chord progression, to the 1, 1, 7. You know, so it has a lot of very common types of movements that you would see in a jazz standard.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But you know, to learn how to improvise, you see these same common progressions that happen over and over and over and over. We see them over and over. Right?
2-5-1s.
Yeah, and you wonder why, like, how these great jazz improvisers get so good at, like, wow, how can they just hear that? How do they do that so quickly? Well, a lot of it is just like, oh, it's that again. Oh, it's that thing again that I've seen a million times. You
like
know,
knowing your way
It's in
around town.
disguise a
two
lot.
5-1s and major 2-5-1s and minor. You know, the 4 sharp diminished, 1 6 2 5. All these things that just cycle around and keep, you know, going the same. And then, you know, once you get good at doing that, then you start throwing, oh, okay, instead of going A minor, D7, G minor, C7 to F, you go A minor, A flat 7, G minor, G flat 7 to
Right.
F. You know, and you start putting the tritone substitutions, and you start practicing soloing over that and getting all those different sounds, and then it just
Yeah, that
and
whole
then
idea.
it's never ending.
I know.
Then it becomes
That
a
whole
science
idea of
project.
common
It
structures
becomes
like
a
that.
science project, and and you don't sleep at night. Yeah.
I think of like the way we all tell jokes too. It's like 3 fill in the blanks walk into a fill in the blank.
Yes,
And as soon as you know that, you know kind of what's going on. There's a structure kind of hanging there that you can fill in lots of different ways and make it happen, you know.
Yeah.
Well, this is going to be great hanging out with you guys.
Oh, it'll be a blast.
And having some individual time with the students, too. That's
Oh,
always
yes.
cool.
Well, and I tell you, the
So,
way the
yeah.
camp is set up, we're kind of sharing a lodge, and there's a couple of fireplaces and couches and chairs. So there'll be situations like this where 6, 8, 10 of us will sit around and do this during what looks like break time, but it's like informal jamming, learning time. You know?
Yeah, and that's what's great about the Rocky Mountain camp too, is that it's not super huge, and so there's time for, you know, I mean, like, it's like I always have time to answer a question.
Maxing out
You
at
know.
40 students, I think, is what Mike does. He doesn't
Yeah.
want it to get too big so that
Yeah.
there's enough time for individuals and smaller
Yeah.
groups, and everyone gets good time. So
Well, I'm
Yeah.
really looking forward to this. This will be a first.
me
that'll be
too.
fantastic.
Yeah.
And maybe Jim Nichols and Brooks Robertson have something to say.
Yes, yes.
Very possible.
We could edit them in, couldn't
We
we?
could edit them in.
Calling Jim, calling Brooks.
I'm really looking forward to seeing you at this year's Rocky Mountain Guitar Camp in August. It's going to be great to reconnect with some of you students that have been there in previous years and friends that I've made in previous years. And we're all excited to welcome some of you newer students and fresh faces who are going to be there for the first time. It's also an honor for me to get to perform and teach alongside some of my biggest guitar heroes, Richard, Muriel, John, Jim, and Pat. I know that we're going to have a really great time together, hanging out, passing along our techniques, our tips, our tricks to all of you, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So a couple of the things that I plan to talk about in some of my classes, although things are subject to change and may take twists and turns in some of the workshops, you never know what could happen. I like to typically talk about picking hand techniques, which are very important to me, really refining and strengthening your picking hand technique by doing picking patterns, different exercises to try to get coordination and independence between your thumb and fingers, like what Richard talked about, getting your thumb to behave. And we're also going to talk about different ways to position your picking hand and different ways to approach it with the attack to get all kinds of different tones out of the guitar without any effects or anything. Just do it with your hands. We're going to talk also about playing with dynamics and trying to play expressively when you're performing a tune. I think we'll also be looking at some funky, syncopated, rhythmic type patterns and grooves, like what you would hear Jerry Reed and Buster B. Jones play. We may work on some banjo roll techniques with a picking hand. And we're going to have some fun as well, where I'm hoping to hear many more of you perform or play a bit and be able to give you some critique and feedback as well this year. That's something I'm hoping to do more in a few of my classes. And the other big topic that I'm hoping to get to would be talking more about harmony and chords and finding your way around the fretboard, how to play different types of chords, and how to embellish your chords if you want to start adding tensions and extensions to your chords, how to play some of those things, and also where to use them. Where could you use some of these embellished chords within your arrangement or a reharmonization of something you're working on, or even within your own composition? So I think we'll have a good time talking about chords and harmony as well together. And then in my ensemble, when I get a chance to coach some of you in an ensemble, which will be a lot of fun, this year I'm planning to work on, with all of you, Jerry Reed's tune, Funky Junk. We're going to work on an arrangement of that together, and we might have some hot soloers in our group that we can give some solos to and improvise over the changes of that tune. So that's what I'm planning to do, is Funky Junk. And overall, I'm really excited to return to Rocky Mountain Guitar Camp. I just can't wait to see you all in August. So get there safely, and I look forward to seeing you very soon in Estes Park.
Jim Nichols here out in Pacifica, California. Looking forward to seeing everybody again with my friends at the Rocky Mountain Guitar Camp. And I know it'll be a lot of fun, and we're all going to try to be as helpful as possible, helping you with whatever problems you might have, whatever it might be. I learned to play starting at about age 9 on a ukulele, and when I heard a Chet Atkins record, that really set me on fire. And so I copied a lot of Chet Atkins and Merle Travis and Jerry Reed. But my folks had a lot of jazz records around the house. My mom and dad were both musicians and professionals. And so I listened a lot to popular music of the time, the 1850s, which was like the Everly Brothers and Buddy Holly and Chuck Berry and eventually the Beatles and the Ventures, Walk, Don't Run. But so then I started playing little gigs in high school, then eventually started working professionally, playing guitar and bass, not at the same time. All kinds of stuff, from straight country gigs, rock and roll gigs, big band gigs, playing bass. And so I learned a lot of tunes by ear, and didn't learn my theory until much, much later. And of course, theory can be helpful to you if it's connected to songs. Otherwise, it's just a bunch of formulas that maybe don't help you play better. But So one of the things that I think helps you learn the guitar neck and not get lost, which is a great help if you're going to play professionally, is to learn songs in different keys. So take a song like Jingle Bells, which probably most people can play, and if you can play it in C, learn it in another key that you're comfortable in, like say D or E. So just strumming, for example, and once you learn it in some of the easier keys, maybe try for a harder key. It could be the flat or sharp keys. F sharp, also known as G flat. There it is. The G sharp, also known as A flat, etc. Do the same thing for the melody. All right. There's Jingle Bells in C. In the key of D. There it is without the mistake, and so forth. It gets a little harder when you have to hold all the strings down all the time in the flat or sharp keys, but the idea is the same in the key of E flat. Okay, I need to brush up on that one myself. So that's one thing that'll help you learn the guitar and not get lost. Okay, of course, there's no need to play every song in every key. Nobody needs to do that. But just in terms of being more versatile, another little tip that if you're playing with another guitar player who knows the song better than you, watch his left hand. It'll give you a clue if he's going to a G chord or an F chord of some kind. Okay, so now I started out there with One Mint Julep, which I thought might be one good tune to play with the band at camp, okay, because it's a 12-bar blues twice, and then an 8-bar bridge, which is just 2 bars of C sharp ninth, 2 bars of C ninth, 2 bars of B ninth, and then 2 bars of E ninth. That's the bridge, 8 bars, and then followed by 12 more bars of One Mint Julep. So you could play it in any style. I happen to have copied the Chet version, but Freddie Hubbard did a straight ahead jazz version. Bob James did a funk version. Ray Charles did a kind of a cha-cha Latin version that Quincy Jones did the arrangement on. And Chet's version it's pretty versatile. You could change the groove, play it straight Latin or straight swing, or and so forth. So that's I thought that would work for us out at the camp, but I'm open to any suggestions for any style, any tune, whatever, as long as we're all comfortable playing it. So let's see, here's a little bit of, just to finish up, maybe I'll do just a little bit of a standard. They can't take that away from me, just a little bit of it. In the key of E and F. Okay, bye-bye, everybody. Look forward to seeing you all at camp.
I guess we'll just sign off here, John.
I
Would
think
you like
so.
to sign off?
Man, I tell you, now I'm going to go home and pack my bag.
There you go.
This has been great. I'm really glad this is the first year we've done this.
Yeah.
But it's like a pre-camp camp, and I'm really excited.
Yeah. So work on a smooth one.
Yeah.
And there's a Charlie Christian version.
Key of F.
With Key of F with Benny Goodman, Charlie Christian, Benny Goodman's sextet, a smooth one, and then there's all kinds of recordings of that tune. A smooth one, and then Richard, you're going to do
I'm going to do Santo and Johnny Sleepwalk.
Sleepwalk.
In the key of C.
Yep, there's a great tune.
And I will post Why Worry, the sheet music in several different forms, you know,
There you go.
a trio version, the solo version, a duet version, on my TrueFire page, my TrueFire channel. I'll post that as a free music. So you can go ahead and get a little tutorial on that to start you off, and I'll post the music there free as well.
And I'm going back and forth. I'm thinking about maybe It Had to Be You.
Yeah.
It's a good one. But I got a couple others in mind too. So I'll surprise myself and all of us. And that's the other thing that'd be great is we'll end up having some tunes and some ideas that everybody shows up at camp already having them in their ears and maybe even in their fingers a bit.
And no one knows what group they'll be in yet, so hopefully everyone will know what everyone else will be working on. And they'll have a good idea of how to do it and what the other guys are doing. So,
And if you have any extra time, work on all of them.
yep. Yep.
That's right, and yeah, we'll take requests when we get
You know,
there,
the other
too.
one I may do besides It Had to Be You is Gee, but it's great after being out late, walking my baby back home, arm in arm over meadow and farm, walking my baby back home, wee da 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 dee. It's got some predictable changes and a couple of surprises. And even room for a key change if we get crazy. At that altitude, you never know. You know. So.
Does the bridge go to? Let me see if I guess. Does it go to C sharp minor?
Yes.
And then it goes to E. Does it go up to E?
It's back to there.
Kind of.
And it's one of those things. It's got just enough surprises that if you play with it a little bit, you can play it pretty square. Da da dee da da dee 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 or dee 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 dee.
That's a cool move. I never thought
That's
of.
just got the 9 in there with augmented.
That's
Da
really
da
cool.
da 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 dee. It could be here, or it could be da 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 dee dee dee. This again, you could probably do the same thing with a smooth one, you know. So we'll kind of figure out what we think our bread and butter chords are, and maybe for the last verse, throw in some fancy stuff, you know.
There you go.
Something the audience should have their seatbelt on so as to not be thrown for a loop, you know.
It's going to be great.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
See you there.
Yep. Looking forward
See
to
you
it.
there.